I stood frozen at the top of the aisle, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. The organ music had stopped abruptly, replaced by a suffocating silence that filled the entire church. Hundreds of guests were turning their heads, their whispers sounding like the buzzing of angry bees. Why? Because the church doors had just swung open to reveal a guest who wasn't on the list. It wasn't a latecomer slipping in quietly. It was my mother-in-law, Linda. And she wasn't wearing the navy blue dress we had picked out together 3 months ago. No. She was standing there in a massive floor-length white bridal gown. It had lace sleeves, a sparkling bodice, and a train that was actually longer than mine. She even had a tiara perched on her perfectly sprayed hair. In that moment, time seemed to slow down. I looked at my fiancé Mark and saw the color drain from his face. I looked at my mother, who was clutching her purse so hard her knuckles were white. Most brides would have collapsed in tears. Most people would have run out the back door. But as I locked eyes with Linda, and saw that twisted, triumphant smirk on her face, something inside me snapped. She didn't come here to attend a wedding. She came here to start a war. But what Linda didn't know was that I had prepared for this. I knew she was a narcissist. I knew she couldn't let her son go without a fight. So, I had a weapon of my own hidden in the DJ booth. A weapon that would turn her humiliation into my ultimate victory. This is the story of how my monster-in-law tried to hijack my wedding day, and how I destroyed her reputation in front of everyone she ever tried to impress. To understand why a grown woman would wear a wedding dress to her own son's wedding, you have to understand the dynamic. Mark and I had been together for 4 years. He is the kindest, most patient man I have ever met. He's an architect who builds hospitals. I'm a graphic designer. We were happy. We were normal, but then there was Linda. Linda is a wealthy socialite who believes that image is everything. She lives in a massive house that feels like a museum, cold, empty, and you're afraid to touch anything. I remember the first time I met her. It was a Tuesday night dinner. I bought a nice bottle of wine and wore my best dress. When Mark introduced us, she didn't offer a hug. She didn't even shake my hand. She just stood there, holding a glass of Chardonnay, and looked me up and down like I was a piece of furniture she didn't order. So she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "You're the artist. Mark told me you work from home. Does that pay the bills, dear, or is Mark taking care of everything?" I felt my face get hot. "Actually, I run my own agency," I said, trying to be polite. She just laughed. A short, cruel sound. Cute. Everyone has a startup these days. Throughout dinner, she ignored me completely. She spoke only to Mark, reminiscing about his ex-girlfriend, Sarah. "Oh Mark, remember Sarah?" she asked while cutting her steak. "Her father just bought a yacht. She's becoming a surgeon now. Such a brilliant girl. I always thought you two would end up together." Mark dropped his fork. "Mom, stop. I'm with Emma now." Linda took a sip of wine and stared right at me. "For now, darling. For now." When Mark proposed, it was magical. But the moment we announced it, the atmosphere shifted. We went to Linda's house to share the news. We expected her to be disappointed, maybe a little cold. We didn't expect rage. When she saw the ring, her eyes narrowed. "That's a family heirloom," she snapped at Mark. "I didn't give you permission to use your grandmother's diamond on her." Mark stood his ground. "Grandma left it to me, Mom. For my wife." "She is not your wife yet," Linda hissed. "And statistics say 50% of marriages end in divorce. I won't have my family jewels lost in a pawn shop when she leaves you." I walked out of the house that day shaking. Mark apologized for hours, but I knew this was just the beginning. The wedding planning was a nightmare. Every decision became a battle. I wanted lilies. Linda said they smelled like a funeral. I wanted a live band. Linda said a DJ was trashy. She tried to force us to invite 50 of her friends. People Mark hadn't seen since he was 5 years old. "It's about networking, Mark," she argued during a tense lunch. "These are important people. If you don't invite Mrs. Holloway, I will be the laughing stock of the country club." "It's our wedding, Mom," Mark shouted. "Not your business conference." But the worst incident happened at the dress fitting. Against my better judgment, I invited her. I thought maybe, just maybe, seeing me in a wedding dress would soften her heart. I put on a beautiful A-line gown with lace details. I felt like a princess. I stepped out of the dressing room, beaming. My mom and sister were crying happy tears. Linda was scrolling on her phone. She didn't even look up. Well, my sister asked aggressively, "What do you think, Linda?" Linda glanced up for half a second. She crinkled her nose as if she smelled something. "It makes you look wide," she said flatly. "But I suppose with your body type there aren't many options." My confidence shattered. I went back into the changing room and cried. That was the day I decided no more nice Emma. About a month before the wedding, things got suspiciously quiet. Linda stopped complaining. She stopped calling Mark at 6 a.m. to scream about the napkins. She even sent a text saying, "I've decided to support you. I'll just be a guest." Mark was relieved. "See," he said, "she's coming around," but I knew better. The calm before the storm is always the most dangerous part. My suspicion was confirmed when I overheard a phone call. We were visiting for a holiday and I walked past the kitchen. Linda was on the phone, her voice low. Yes, the white one, she was whispering. I want it to be more extravagant than hers. I want the train to be 3 feet longer. I'll pay double for the rush order. I froze. She was talking about a dress. A white dress. I went back to Mark and told him. He didn't believe me. "Emma, you're paranoid. She's probably buying a silver dress. Light silver looks white sometimes." She said, "Extravagant?" I insisted. "She's planning something." I decided I needed proof. I needed to know exactly what she was up to. I hired a private investigator, not to stalk her, but to do a background check on her recent activities. What he found was shocking. Linda hadn't just bought a wedding dress. She had emailed our caterer trying to change the menu to all seafood, knowing my dad is deadly allergic to shellfish. She had emailed the venue pretending to be me, trying to cancel the photography package. This woman wasn't just annoying, she was dangerous. I gathered all the emails. I took screenshots. And then, I had an idea. If she wanted to make a scene, I would give her the biggest scene of her life. I called my sister and told her the plan. We spent the next 2 weeks setting up a projector, editing a video, and preparing the ultimate trap. The morning of the wedding was beautiful. The sun was shining, the birds were singing. I felt a strange sense of calm. I knew what was coming. We had the ceremony in a beautiful old church. The guests were seated. Mark was at the altar, looking handsome and nervous. Then the limousine arrived. When Linda stepped out in that white dress, the gasp from the bridesmaids was audible. "She actually did it," my sister whispered, clenching her bouquet. "She's actually insane." Linda walked past us with her head held high. She didn't look at me. She marched right to the front row and sat down, fluffing her massive white skirt so it spilled into the aisle. It was a power move. She was trying to visually block me from the altar. I walked down the aisle. I saw the guests whispering, pointing at Linda. She was beaming, soaking up the attention, oblivious to the fact that everyone was looking at her with disgust, not admiration. The priest began the ceremony. He went through the prayers, the readings. And then the moment arrived. "If anyone here presents a just cause why these two may not be joined in marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace." Usually this is just a formality. The room stays silent. But Linda stood up. The rustling of her taffeta dress was loud in the quiet church. "I object." She shouted. Mark closed his eyes. The priest looked stunned. "I object," Linda continued, turning to face the guests. "My son is making a mistake. He is being manipulated by a woman who is only after his money. She has isolated him from his family. She is not one of us." Mark opened his mouth to scream at her, but I touched his arm. "Let me," I said softly. I turned to Linda. I didn't look angry. I looked disappointed. "Linda," I said into the microphone, "I expected you to do this. That's why I prepared a little presentation." I nodded to the DJ in the balcony. Suddenly, a large screen descended behind the altar. The lights dimmed. "What is this?" Linda demanded, looking around nervously. "The truth," I said. The video began to play. First, it was a recording of the phone call where she ordered the white dress. "I want to upstage her," her voice boomed through the church speakers. "I want everyone to look at me, not that little rat." The crowd gasped. Linda turned pale. Then the emails appeared on the screen, magnified so everyone could read them. "Email to caterer, ignore the allergy warnings. If her father gets sick, it's not my problem. Just make sure the lobster is fresh." A collective cry of horror went through the room. My dad stood up, furious. Then the final clip. It was hidden camera footage from her own living room, recorded by her housekeeper who was on our side. In the video, Linda was drinking wine and talking to a friend. "I'll get them divorced within a year," she bragged. "I've already started spreading rumors that she's cheating. Mark will believe me eventually. He always does." The video ended. The lights came back up. Linda stood there frozen. All her elegance was gone. She looked small, vicious, and pathetic. Mark stepped forward. His face was like stone. "You tried to poison her father?" he asked, his voice shaking. "You tried to frame her for cheating?" "Mark, it's fake. It's..." Linda stammered. "Don't," Mark said. "Just don't. You are not my mother. You are a monster. Get out of my wedding. Get out of my life." Linda looked around the room for support, but there was none. Her wealthy friends, her bridge club members, they were all looking at her with pure revulsion. Realizing she had lost, she let out a scream of frustration. She gathered her massive white dress and ran down the aisle. But in her haste, her heel caught on the train. She tripped and fell flat on her face in the middle of the church aisle. There was a moment of shock, and then laughter. It started with one person, then spread to the whole room. She scrambled up, her tiara crooked, her nose bleeding slightly, and ran out the door. The applause that followed was deafening. We continued the wedding. It was the best party of my life. That was 3 years ago. We haven't seen Linda since. She sold her house and moved to another state because the humiliation was too much. She tried to call Mark once, but he changed his number. We are expecting our first child next month. We've already decided Grandma Linda will never, ever meet him. So, to my mother-in-law who wore white to my wedding, thanks for the free entertainment. You wanted to be the center of attention. Well, congratulations. You were. And now you're nothing. 1730, Oyo. If you enjoyed this story of karma, make sure to hit that like button. Have you ever dealt with a nightmare in law? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to Reddify Dark for more stories like this. See you in the next video.